Hey, 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 good morning to you. This is Eyes on Smash Bros. Radio, the only digital radio station located in Birmingham, Alabama. Hey, if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube as well as Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Hey, I'm Daz, Oz, your Dutch uncle. You can find me practically on all social medias. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And also, while you're at it, download our Smash Bros. App. You can find it on all uh, applications and all. So please check us out. So I have a special guest co-host waiting for him. I appreciate him. He's getting off of his regular job to come in, and we're going to talk about the Black community. We're going to talk about the issues, concerns, problems, disconnections, and hopefully come up with some type of solutions. So even though there's just certain things that I don't feel comfortable with being non-black that I feel comfortable talking about, even though some may say that you've been on the inside looking out, but that's not necessarily so. Here comes my co-host over here. You beside me,
Oh,
the
God.
Omega Man himself.
I am here. I have arrived. Get back.
Can you get it? Can you get it? Can you get it? There you go.
Yep.
I appreciate you, man.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. So,
We
man,
just started. Just started.
Awesome, man. I had to change clothes while I was driving. And, all
You
that
said
good
you had to
shit.
get yourself together, huh?
Right. Coming straight from work, man. I said, hey, I'm headed to the Oz show. I cannot miss this with Mr. P. Humes on the morning show at 9.
You know, some people say that, white folks have the tendency of always talking about issues and stuff that really they don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And so, and even though some would say that I have every right because of being on the inside looking out, I just feel uncomfortable sometimes because, I have those genes. I have those white
Yeah.
genes. So I have
Right.
to control those white genes. So
Right.
even though I've been indoctrinated and baptized and all that into the
Gene
black,
management.
yes. So,
Gene management.
but there's certain issues that I don't feel actually comfortable talking about because if this is somebody's first time watching me, that's the first thing. Well, what he's white, what the hell does he know? So I needed to
Right.
bring someone on that, and I don't trust everybody.
I know you don't.
I don't like everybody.
I know you don't,
And
man. You know I know that.
and I think that 98% of humans should die and go to hell. So,
And you stand on that,
and
don't you?
I'm sincere about that. So I needed someone who, first of all, his career is inundated with issues because you
Right.
deal with teenagers, right, and young adults.
Yes, I do. Yes, I
So
do.
I
But I've
need
worked with our populations, though. Honestly,
and see,
I actually started with adults in a crisis stabilization unit up in
good.
Huntsville. Yeah.
So, but also needed someone who I trust
Okay.
and will put me in my place.
Right.
And there's only two. So you're the top one. So I was saying that, well, uh, we got to bring them on. So my main concern is that we're seeing a lot of crimes in the black community,
Yes.
and then I'm reluctantly because of the issue with Miss Russell with what she did.
Right.
But I wanted first of all because you interviewed the father and the mother, I wanted to give a shout out to the Harris and the Blanchard family
Oh yes, absolutely for the hard
because
work. Yeah, they were out there.
I can't imagine what what Mrs. Harris went through,
Mm.
and then going through what she went through and finding out whatever.
Hmm.
But see, I have a lot of respect for the Harris and the Blanchard families because they didn't come back negative with it.
They didn't. They didn't. They
And
kept it
so
classy. Yeah.
and so uh, keep the Blanchard and the Harris families in your prayers because
Yeah.
uh, there was a lot. You opened a lot of wounds, a lot of pain and anxiety and hurt. So,
Yeah, yeah.
coupled with that, and then coupled with the shootings and all the crimes that are happening in the black community, I thought that this would be a good time to bring you on
Okay.
to discuss the concerns, the issues, the problems, the possible solutions that we can come up with just automatically. And then with your experience dealing with in your career, then you can bring an insight of exactly what you have observed
Right.
with what people are going through. Is there just some type of disconnect between the community and individuals in that community? Is there a disconnect between social services or social programs when it comes to certain issues? Or are we just barely making it? And does it all come back to core of it? Is that part of the problem too? So I know it's a big issue, a
Mhm.
big question, but I figure that you'll be the main one that could help me muddle through this. And because we've had another shooting, a lot of shootings in Birmingham,
Man.
and I don't know if it's because of frustration. I don't know if it's because of anger management. I don't know if it's because of the younger folks not having any type of conflict resolution or management or something.
Right.
So, do we put everything on the community? Do we put everything on social services? Or do we go back to the basics and put everything on the parents?
Wow, that is an awesome question, Dr. Hume.
Because
Well,
you know, when I was being raised in the dark ages, the
hmm,
community raised me.
right,
But see, back then we had everything in our community. We didn't have to leave our community. We had a church. We had where we went to get groceries. We had our schools. Hell, I even had teachers that was my Sunday school teachers, which I thought it was hell. I have to see this bitch on Sundays, and I have to see on Mondays too. So you
right,
had that camaraderie. You had that huge family, like the village. You know, it tickled me that when Hillary Clinton came out with a book, It Takes a Village. Hell, down here in the South, we always knew it took a village. I
right,
mean, so
right,
why is it a new concept all of a sudden? But that's the way I was raised.
right, right, right,
Everybody knew me,
right,
and I had to listen to everybody in that community, or you suffer the consequence.
right, right.
So, with what you have experienced over your years in
Hmm.
your profession, uh, what do you think?
I believe it's a collection of things. So many things running through my head while you were, running through the questions that you were, going to ask me. And I could, I'm trying to find, hey, where do I start?
Right, right,
But I can start with influences these days. The influences that we have, the traditional professions and things that we were our values and things we were taught to like grow up and like be is not glorified anymore.
right, right,
Okay, what's glorified is entertainment, rapping, comedian, YouTube, all this type of stuff. Kids are not trying to be lawyers, doctors. They don't want to, they want the fast money.
correct, right, right,
Okay, they don't want to put in that work, going to college and doing it, doing all that type of stuff. Me spending 8 years in college, I mean, that was kind of, insane in my head, but
right,
I did it. They don't want to work, make slow money and make work a 9 to 5. So those influences and what you see and what I mean, excuse me, and what they see. I mean, you know what they see. They see the chains. They see, you know, I got the bitches. I got the money.
right,
I got the cars. I got the power. All that type of stuff. That and how they live, how the rappers live. Now, I'm not knocking rappers or anything like that,
right,
but the rappers such as like Common and other certain rappers that you know uh, 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 give off a different type of more positive image.
right,
They don't get recognized as much, or they don't get any plays like that, or people don't listen to them that like that. So
right,
that's I believe influences, not just and it's not just rappers, it's other negative influences as well in the community. You know, communities are not like it used to be as far as like on a village type of concept.
right, right,
COVID, you brought up COVID. COVID did I think it was already headed that way, but COVID could put another dent in it as well. Because people started kind of staying and withdrawing and staying in the house and things like that. So
Right.
kids weren't getting out, playing and digging in the dirt, spending the night over other people's house, things like that. Okay, so I believe that was that happened as well, and that became a problem. Okay, um, so kids, as far as socializing, is an issue. Some kids don't know how to socialize, or some kids are getting, bullied,
Right.
and which could lead to, the mass shootings and things like that. You
Right.
hear what I'm saying? And because I know I've done a lot of bullying, uh, little seminars and webinars before, and for high school, and because it's become a huge thing.
Right.
Okay, um, parents, some parents that, I mean, let's be honest, some parents that maybe shouldn't have had kids
Right. Right.
had kids. I mean, I'm keeping it realistic, and say what you want. And my
You
what's up?
when I first started teaching, I had a program specialist, Lily Mae Fincher, and she was fantastic.
Mhm.
She was one of those icons of the Birmingham City. If you taught in social studies or if you taught in Birmingham City, you knew about Lily Mae Fincher. And so when they was started telling us about certain things that we needed to do with the students,
Mhm.
Mrs. Fincher told Mrs. Fincher told the board, when I can choose who can have children, then I will do. But up until that time, that I can choose what male and what female can come together to have a child,
Right.
that is out of my expertise. And it shocked everybody, but when you start thinking about it, we have no say on in society. We have to accept everything, and especially with public education. I was taught that public education is a reflection of society because you have to accept everything in public education. Whatever issues and concerns out there has to come to one building.
Mm.
So as a teacher, even though it's not in my contract,
Mhm.
I have to serve this multi-level of components. I have to be a parent.
Right.
I have to be a mentor. I have to be a protector. I have to
A lot
do
of
all.
hats. Yeah.
And you have to do it at the drop of a hat because when you have a class, each class has its own type of attitude, own type of atmosphere.
Right.
Then coupled to, you don't know what that child has gone through in the neighborhood for that morning, so you have to deal with that too.
Right.
So, like you were saying that, and we know of folks. We're wondering how. Well, we know how the babies came. We
Oh, right,
understand
right,
that,
right, 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 right.
but why?
I mean, I
Why,
heard,
Lord?
um, and that's, I call myself unorthodox when it comes to counseling, because I'm more I feel like I'm more relatable, to a lot of my clientele, and I've been told that a lot, and it's one of the, one of my, uh, I guess, what you call those things, quirks
Right,
that
right,
I have,
right, right.
and it's a blessing as well, and I thank God for that. Um, but I've just heard, I've just heard that, gender this generation is it's a generational shift. Okay, I mean,
Right.
we know that, right? But the values and traditions are becoming that they're not.
Obsolete.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some new traditions and trends that are being, you know, demonstrated, and a lot of our youth is following that. I mean,
Right.
and like, I mean, I'm not knocking apps or anything like that.
No, no, no,
You know
no.
what I'm saying? But I mean, it's just, and that's what I come back to. Influences. It's TikTok challenges, and all this stuff that they're able to have access to.
And some of the challenges that these TikTok, I would never even think about slapping a teacher. And this is a joke. No motherfucker, you slapped me. When you
Oh,
slapped me, that was no joke. I don't care how many TikTok folks you got.
so you've never been hit
Oh no,
when you in
I've
your
never
years of
been
teaching?
hit. No, but see, I had a good reputation with the parent and the community.
Yeah, I
Everybody
obviously
knew
good
I was
things about you.
crazy.
Yeah,
Everybody knew I was
and they
crazy.
say, "Oh, Mr. Humes keep it real."
So, and plus, too, my worst fear was that my kids liked me. They loved, because see, people, you can't teach a child unless a child trusts you, believes in you and loves you. You can't do anything. So when you have a teenager, when I first started teaching, I was the first white male academic teacher, and there was Coach Simmons, and most coaches were white. So he had been there forever over at Lincoln Middle. So when I got there, I was the first white male teacher that the kids had ever had. They've never had a white male, much less a black male.
Right.
They always had the white females or black.
Right.
So
were they just staring at you when you first walked in class?
Man, they didn't know what the hell was going on.
I'm just trying to, I was using my imagination like you walking in. Good morning, class.
I had 3 preps. I taught 15 sixth grade. This is my first year.
Okay.
First year, I had 15 sixth graders. I had to teach social studies and reading.
Okay.
I had 7th graders, and then I had 8th graders.
Okay.
And back then, you could have over 40-something students in a classroom. I had between 45 and 48 students.
They were all black, right?
All black.
Yeah.
Because, see, my kids came from Smithfield, came from Illerton Village, came from Druid Hills.
It still tripped me out about Illerton, man, and Druid Hills, man.
Came from Loveman's Village, came from the bottom.
Loveman's Village,
Loveman's Village.
Oh, my God, man. That's crazy.
So I visited homes.
Yeah.
I went to the community.
Oh, man, that's rough. So, that's rough, man.
Because I had to find out where my kids came from.
Right.
And plus 2, teenagers being teenagers, with me being the first white, if my child came home and said, that white man, it's on. So I had to block all that. I had to stop all that before it started. So that way I had to introduce myself to the community.
Was there some type of like, and you keep it real with me, was there some type of like, I don't want to say pity, but like you were kind of like, knowing what the type of stuff that was going on, back in the day and back in those days, did it make you feel bad and like make you feel like I want to just, do more to help them? And I hate the fact that their stuff is like that. I want them to, to love me and, let them know that I feel, make sure that they feel that you love them as well and it's real,
When I started teaching, Mrs. McDonald, Barbara McDonald, told me, she said, when you come into this school, you have to understand one thing. These are not troubled kids. These are kids that have trouble, that have problems. And she says there's a big difference in that. There's nothing wrong with the kids. It's something wrong with the community. So they have problems and concerns. So you have to look at it from that standpoint. So when I came in, my teachers were part of my life when I was going through school.
Okay.
So because of that relationship that the teachers had with my parents, I knew not to get into trouble. So I knew that teenagers are teenagers no matter what. They're going to be trifling. They're going to be difficult because they're learning. And plus 2, they're going through the change because all of a sudden you have a little boy becoming a young man.
Right.
And, with being a young man, the wind can blow, and then all of a sudden you know that you kind of active.
Right.
So I had to understand where my kids came from. So I visited Illerton Village. I went to Loveman's Village.
Man, you so much for that, man. You certified. I keep telling you, certified, man. You all right with me.
I went to Smithfield Project.
Right.
I went to Druid Hills. I went to the bottom. I went to those places in which my kids came from, so that way the parents would meet me, understand who I was,
right,
and what I stood for.
Right.
And so that's what saved me. So from that experience that I had with Lincoln, it prepped me for everything to come.
Right.
And today, those kids that I had at Lincoln still keep in touch with me.
That means something.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then,
so they're
grown adults, and their parents still keep in touch with me.
That means the parents and the students keep in touch.
Yes, sir.
That means something, man.
So, the thing that concerns me the most, back then during '88, it was just the beginning of the social media. We really wasn't into. I think back then, you had other sources. You didn't have this wider range.
What, MySpace?
MySpace and stuff like
Bebo?
that.
What is Bebo? Black Planet.
So And then too, the kids were more active outside.
Yes. And that's
And the
why I love
community was more involved per se for that community.
right, right. That's why I love the fact that my son loves to go outside. I was just gonna add. I had to add that. I had to add that. He loves going outside. And I just remember when we were riding bikes, man. We had the pigs on the front, pigs on the back.
Yes, sir.
Somebody sitting in the front, somebody's on the back. We headed somewhere to the trampoline, man. Hey, anybody from West End right now, y'all know that you know what the trampoline man is. Got me stuttering and everything. But you know what the trampoline man is. We used to the whole hood would go
And
there.
we didn't have helmet, no knee pads.
Oh, that man. Yeah.
So when you
Gutter.
rode on the bicycle, you better hope that the person who was maneuvering the bicycle knew how to ride the bicycle.
Hey, we done had a couple of wipeouts now.
So
yeah.
But too, we had community centers back then too.
Yeah.
And that's what raised me was community when the community centers and the boys club raised.
See, resources are a problem as well. I still don't think that there are enough productive resources.
Correct. Right.
Okay, let me say that too, because there are some things out there, but you just have to understand my perspective. When I deal with my clientele, the things that I've heard, from different facilities or different services that they may have been offered,
right,
and no productivity, and then it ends up being like a circle, a revolving door.
Right.
You're going to this place, to that place, going back here, then you have outpatient services,
right,
something happening, you relapse, you end up going back to an acute unit, then you have to be referred to a group home or some type of behavior facility. So it just goes in a circle, and I mean, that's a problem, especially for a teenager. You're missing out on, key essential things that you need to be going through or handling at that age.
Right.
And because those facilities and things like that, that's a different world. And once they come out, if the program wasn't productive, they weren't really rehabilitated.
Because what is it when you turn 18, you're released from social services and you're considered to be an adult?
Well, it depends on. Sometimes it depends on what program you're in.
Okay.
They may, the age limit may range until like 21 or something like
right.
that. But I know that you can get emancipated.
That's the word.
Yeah, at that age. So it just depends. But I mean, technically, yes. But if you're in DHR custody or something like that, they'll if you go to college, like if I was in it, and I was 18. If I was, a ward of the state,
right,
and I wanted to go to college, they would still, pay for my college and my lodging, stuff like that. So I would still be up under them. You get what I'm saying? So,
but see, when I started teaching in '88, my kids taught me more than I taught them, because you can't say what you'll never do, because you've never been in that situation.
yes.
My kids came to school because they wanted to come to school, not because it was required. They came because they wanted to.
Because they wanted to.
My kids did things because of survival.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a mother who's a prostitute and you have a daughter that is out of this world smart,
yeah.
I mean, brilliant,
yeah.
and all your mother's telling you that book sense is going to get you, your money's between your legs.
Yeah.
And that daughter comes to you and asks you, what am I to do? Then you're in a predicament, because there's certain things as a teacher I'm not supposed to do. But if a child comes to me and is sincere with their questioning, I have to be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest with them. So I told her, I said that for whatever situation, your mother is in a place to which possibly she has no control over, and she doesn't know how to get control.
Right.
You are in the position to where you are more mature than I was when I was your age, because you've experienced and you've seen things.
Right.
Now, you're blessed in that not only do you have book sense,
mm-hmm.
but you got street sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
now, what I'm about to
Absolutely.
tell you, I'm telling you reluctant,
Okay.
but because of what you have, sometimes you have to do whatever you have to do to survive. But if you know the value and if you know your worth,
Hmm.
well, then you're going to do what's best for you.
Right.
Understand that? I said, do you understand? She
Un-
said, a little bit. I said, let me tell you, the only reason why we have prostitutes is because there is a need for prostitutes. Understand that?
Mm,
Because if there wasn't a need for it, there wouldn't be no prostitute. So
mhm,
that's a commodity.
mhm.
That's something that people want. It's not that they need, but they
They
want.
want.
But if you know your worth and you know your value
Hmm.
and you have a plan, do what you got to do.
Right.
Now, I had a student fatback who, when he wore a certain Nike shoe, he had over $200,000 in his shoe.
Oh, okay.
He was a drug dealer,
Oh, yeah.
but
Got
he
yeah.
was smart
Right.
with his money. Now, I didn't agree with it, but he did what he had to do because of necessity,
Right.
because of survival. And I asked him, I said, is it true? He took his shoe off. I've never seen that much money in my life.
Mm, mm, mm.
I said, now what you doing with it? He was putting it back. He was saving.
Okay. Smart man. Smart man.
A 16-year-old
Smart man.
saving his money.
Right. They say he had an old soul, huh?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
So my kids taught me that when you live in a bubble, you really don't see the world as the world is. But my kids did things because of necessity. And you can't say you won't do it because your back has never been against the wall.
Mm,
If you cage an animal and you push that animal to a corner, animal's going to come out.
mm-hmm.
Same way when it comes to my kids. Now, my kids that I taught since '88, I can say 95% of them are productive individuals in a career.
What percentage?
95%.
Okay. Okay. That's
90.
good.
They
That's a
kept
great
in
number.
touch with me.
Okay.
My kids from Illington Village, Lubman's
Yeah.
Village, Smithfield, Druid Hills,
Hey,
the bottom.
there's some diamonds in the rough. I tell you.
I have some that are chefs. I have some who are deputy.
Mm,
I have my kids fill all variety, all areas, all
mm-hmm.
careers. And those who help me in the yard, because I always planted in the schoolyard.
You have a lot of plants,
I
man,
had a
around your
lot of
house.
plants. I have 4 boys, 4 men
Mm-hmm.
that because of them helped me plant the plants outside Lincoln, they have their own service.
Oh man, blessed man,
Because see, I
blessed.
gave them when you were saying resources, I gave them the resource.
Mm.
I told them that if you make this, if you like doing this, you can make this a good job.
Right, right.
So
You
when
taught
you
them how
say
to catch a fish.
yes, sir. So when you say resources, I never thought about resources, but for you to have anything, you have to have the resources
Mm-hmm.
to get whatever's done. And I think that one of the resources, if the revenue is used productive, you could start these community centers back up. And then you have a lot of retired individuals who want to give back, but
Right.
they don't know how, and they don't know.
I don't have the opportunity to.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could open these community centers because you're going to have a community center director.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have somebody who's going to come up with the schedules, that's going to come up with the activities, as well as individuals to implement those activities.
Right.
And you have a lot of retired individuals, old guards, who have that knowledge
Right, right, right,
that
right.
can do and give back. I keep saying that, and I love Rufus. Don't get me wrong. I love Randy. I love Ray Ray.
Hey, look.
I really
What's
do.
fun about Ray Ray is my nieces and nephew call me Ray Ray, Uncle Ray Ray. You know my name rounded too, my first
Right.
name. But yeah.
So he has projects that he could have implemented now that Mayor Langford started. You have a wonderful sportsplex
Yes.
out at 5 Points West.
Mm-hmm.
If he would invest in that sportsplex to enhance that pool, make it Olympic style pool.
Mm.
Do you know, and market it like it's supposed to be marketed effectively?
Mm-hmm.
He could bring coaches from all over the world that would want to come to these facilities because the facility has what they need. They have the equipment. They have everything that they need to get their teams up.
Well, we at least had the World Game.
See? And see, that's an opener.
Yeah, yeah.
So if he would do that, you have the monorail system from Birmingham to Atlanta.
Now that needs to happen.
Also, you have white investors who want to not only have it from Birmingham to Atlanta, but they want it from Birmingham to Houston. Do you understand?
Man, that's big,
do you understand the counties that will be affected by that rail system? That's really South Alabama.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, well, how are you going to get them together? You already have the components. You have the county commission.
Mm-hmm.
So you get all the county commissioners together. They in turn would get in touch with those mayors and city administrators.
Right.
To come up and let them know that, okay, especially down in the Black Belt, they need money for everything. So you get those county commissioners together. You get those mayors and city administrators together. You show them the possibilities of when this rail is through these counties, you're not only providing a transportation, but you're providing employment too, because you're going to have stores that's going to be developed along the rail system.
Exactly.
Then you're going to need parking places. Then you're going to need maintenance to maintain everything. So all that money, the taxes, is going back to the county, which is going back to the cities.
Right.
And they can do the social service. Mm-hmm. They can do programs. They can do education.
Right.
All of that. All you have to do is get the mayor on board, get the county commissioners on board, get in touch with those legislators in Montgomery, and get in touch with KK.
Now let me KK. Now let me ask you this. Now, what else could also help this state and do the same things that you just said? The lottery, right?
Right. But see, if the hypocrites don't want the lottery,
the hypocrites,
because most of them bastards are still going over to Georgia and Mississippi to buy the tickets. But you don't want us to have it. But your asses are going across the line to buy the tickets. Okay, fine. So you don't want it.
Well, make it make sense. Can you make it make sense?
No.
Okay.
Talk about white folks, man. But anyway, I digress. So.
Oh man. Well, there are some white individuals that actually campaigning for it. Though.
Right.
You know, they have the lottery.
But with this mentality that we have now, and Corbett I hate to give Trump credit, but Trump allowed all this maliciousness to come out. We knew it was there. We just didn't know it was to the degree that it was.
Right.
So, and then coupled with Corbett, because like he was saying, there is no longer a norm any longer.
No.
This is recreating a new norm.
Yeah, right.
So what you did in the past, you can't, it's changed. Kids have changed.
Yes.
These kids are not as sociable as what we were or what kids before Corbett.
Right.
And I think there should be a study post-Corbett because...
Or mannerable. Or respectful.
So you're looking at, conservatively, you're looking at least 20 to 25 more years of dealing with Corbett. Now, I'm 63.
Are you?
I'm 63. So at 63, 20 years from now, I'll be 83 years old. How old is your son?
2.
At 22 years old. 22. Mm-hmm. So, see, people don't seem to understand. You have to look at your children. If you need a guide, because I'm a visual learner.
Right.
So if you have a child that's 2 years old, and it's going to take 20 years to try to get Corbett back, whatever, and you can't get it back, but try to do whatever, your child's going to be 22 years old. So what are you doing with your children now to prep them? What are you
instilling in them?
Right. Because what your mama did with you can't do with your son. Now, you have the foundation.
Right. You
have the foundation because you got to have the foundation.
Got to have it.
But when it comes to certain things, you can't do your son like your mama did with you.
Certain things, right?
Right, because there's certain things that are cultural and traditional when it comes to raising a child. And plus, too, I cannot even imagine what it's like to be a black male now, raising a black son now.
Man, I think about it every
Because,
single
see,
day,
people don't
man.
seem to understand raising a black son is totally different than raising a white son.
Mm-hmm.
They say, but you're not looking at it. There's only one race, and that's the human race.
Right.
Now, under that umbrella, you have different cultures. Now, with that different cultures and all, and different traditions and all, you're going to have different ways of doing things that's still going to come together to the main point.
Right.
Especially when it comes to discipline.
Right.
Now, sometimes a parent would have that tone, and you can talk to a child, and that child will wish, just beat me. But then you have a child that you have to go to a little bit further, but you have the foundation that you was given.
Right.
And you know your child well enough that, well, he's not going to listen.
Right.
So there's other options you have to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So those of you who have these young, and then a 15-year-old,
right,
if you have 35 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing to prep your children for the future? Now, are you sending them? Now, there's nothing wrong with being an athlete. There's nothing wrong with being an athlete. But do you have a back door? So if by chance
mm-hmm.
the athletic part doesn't succeed, because you got a lot of NFL people who have gone to colleges, who have graduated with PhDs and master's degree and have retired early. You have doctors, you have professors.
Right, you do.
But they use that as a leverage to be able to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have, and there's nothing wrong with making it a profession.
No,
but
at
the same time, you have to look at how that plantation is being run, because that's what it is a plantation.
The college,
an NFL team,
the NFL team,
and any colleges too. Now they've just changed it, for what I understand, to where the student athletes are able to get paid, which they should have been paid a long time ago.
Oh man, that'd have been awesome.
But again, what are you teaching the financial? Are you teaching the responsibility? Yes, you have all this coming in. What are you doing?
Hopefully they're getting some financial advisors as well.
But is the NFL providing those financial services? So as a teacher, as education, as a whole, because everything's woven together as a tapestry. Mm-hmm. Everything is together. You can't do one without the other.
Right.
So what are we doing as a community? Because nowadays you probably don't even know who lives 2 houses down from you. Where I lived in Capitol Heights, we knew everybody in that community. And that's a huge community.
Right.
And everybody knew me. Everybody knew the children. They knew that I was Roy and Evelyn Carter's grandson. They knew that I was Papa Sid and Mama Carter's great-grandson. They knew that I was a nephew. And they knew me. Mm-hmm. And it didn't help that they were in Eastern Star and Masons, too, because it added to the problem.
Didn't know that.
Ooh.
Fun fact.
They didn't play. So
did they know you were a mess, too?
Oh,
did the community know you were a mess?
Oh. Now, see, I was a mischievous child. But I wasn't crazy. I was mischievous.
You sure?
Yes, Lord. I wasn't into pain. Because, see, whoever was in the house, if I were to get into trouble, that's how many whippings I would get.
Oh, see, yeah.
See, I wasn't into 6 whippings.
Right.
No.
No,
and then it seemed like every time I got into trouble, it seemed like everybody was like, well, let's go to Evelyn's house. And everybody was there because I was taught, you think of the family first. I was taught, you know your place, you stay in your place, you accept your place. I had expectations. Mm-hmm. These kids don't have expectations. They don't have responsibilities. I had chores. On Saturdays, I had to make sure all the bathrooms was clean, all the trash was taken out.
Listen, man, I plan to one day own and manage group homes for a teenage male, okay? And the type of structure that I want and the way that I want the group homes ran, oh my God, I just feel like, if I get the right people, the right team together.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna
be on the same page.
Yeah, man. We're gonna generate some.
And see, that's what
productive people.
You cannot listen to these teenagers because teenagers want structure.
Oh man.
They want discipline.
Right.
They want to know the guidelines. They want to know what do you expect out of me? What do you want out of me?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be successful. I want you to be productive. I want you to be I want you to be the best that you can be.
Right.
But to get there, these are your restrictions. This is your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I expect out of you. I set my standards high for all my kids.
Right.
My kids either beat or met my expectation. And 9 times out of 10, they beat
it.
They beat it because they knew exactly I wasn't taking no bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They could talk all that crap they wanted to.
Right.
But they knew that I don't argue with you.
Right.
You can argue with whoever you want to. I don't argue with teenagers. You're not my equal.
Oh.
Now,
if
you want somebody to talk to me, bring your parents because your parents are my equal.
Right.
But I'm not going to, this is what I want. You do what you do, what you don't, you don't. There's no compromise.
Right.
And once you set those standards, once you set those boundaries, and once those students understand that he's great, he's not going to go, they're going to come together.
Right.
When I first started teaching, I had the authentic Crip Bloods disciples and vice.
Ooh,
I had the true
you had
ones.
a melting pot, didn't you?
I had the true ones, the authentic.
The OGs.
I had the OGs.
Yeah, you had OGs. Yeah.
They knew what I expected out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any problems.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any problems. They knew that when you came into my classroom, I don't care nothing about your color. I don't care nothing about your fraternity. Because, see, I had a problem with the word fraternity, but when you started thinking about it, what a gang is a brotherhood of individuals.
Right.
So if that makes them feel good to be called a fraternity, okay, what is a fraternity? It's a group of men together.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at me in a certain way.
Yeah, because I'm watching what you say, Mr. Alpha Man.
So it's an organization of men, and that's what a gang is. And so they said because they knew about the negative stigma of what gangs, so they didn't call them gangs. It was fraternity. I said, you're smart.
Right.
I would never
listen it down a little bit, water it down a little bit.
I had a problem with you calling yourselves fraternity, but I started thinking, well, you're a group of men.
Right.
Fine. Don't bring that shit in my classroom. Whatever problem you had in the community,
don't bring it
you
here.
Keep in the community.
Right.
Don't bring it here.
Right.
My 4th month, first year, I had someone call me. Because back then I gave my numbers out to all my parents. And my parents, I felt comfortable. My parents felt comfortable in calling me. And they called me to ask what was going on. That's how I kept in touch with my parents. Okay. I couldn't visit. And I would go and eat. That's what made the kids upset. Because I would come and eat.
Right.
And so I had an individual call me and told me that you're running your mouth too damn much and you're going to get yourself in trouble.
I told you that.
So watch your back. I said, really? I said, let me tell you this. If it's my time to go, God's going to take me. But if it's not my time to go and God takes me, understand, you'll never get your dick on hard again because I'm going to find you and I'm going to holler boo every time you try to get He hung up on me.
You're going to mess up his euphoria?
Yes, sir. So I went in the following day and I told the 8th graders, 7th and 8th graders, I said I had a wonderful conversation with somebody's brother, I guess. I said, but they were saying I was running my mouth too much. So let me tell you what I told them. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go.
Mm.
But if I do go, you never produce children because every time your dick gets on hard, I'm going to holler boo, and you're going to go limp. Never had problems since.
That was it. That was it.
So I think that when it comes to the issues, when it comes to the problems,
mm-hmm.
I think like you was bringing, one main thing, the resources.
Yeah.
How are you going, because for you to implement the programs, you're going to have the resources. Where are you going to get the funding? Because like you were saying, with those group homes, you want to make sure that your team is the best team.
Right.
And with that, you want to make sure that the salary is as comfortable as possible.
Yes, of course, of course. I already told like the individuals who I would want,
Yes, sir.
to help me out. I already told them, hey, I'm gonna set you straight. It's a lot of individuals that I work with, or have worked with that I know that I'm going to handpick.
Right,
These
right.
people are going to be handpicked.
Yes, sir.
So if they come on board, it'll be awesome.
But I think that we have the capability to provide those programs that is needed. Because
Grants, we can get grants. Grants.
Don't talk about.
Don't talk about grants.
We had during Arrington and Langford's administration, Birmingham had the best grant writer. We had the best individual who knew how to get the grants because he knew how to write the grants. He knew the wording. He knew the format.
Right.
He knew exactly how to get the funding. And that's where Arrington and Langford got most of the money. The resources was from the grants. Mm-hmm. Kincaid comes up.
Oh.
And because the grant writer was making more than he was, the mayor, he let the grant writer go. But the city wasn't paying the grant writer. He was getting his money from the grants.
I figured you was going to say that. And is that illegal?
Yeah, because
because
with the way that the grants are wrote up.
Okay.
And because of the criteria, so it had nothing really to do with the city.
Right.
So why would you get rid of the individual that was bringing the most resources in of finances?
Yeah, that put it down.
Now understand, sports is fantastic to have, but sports are seasonal. So you need revenue coming in that's on a consistent basis.
That's right.
Now I love Ray Ray. I do. I love Ray Ray. I love Ray Randall. I love him. But Birmingham is at a point in its life that we don't need a celebrity. We need a mayor that knows how to get, and he has the capability. He has all the attributes of knowing how to maneuver to get what you want.
Right.
But he's doing it selfish because he's not doing anything per se for Birmingham. He's doing it for himself. For him to get recognition, for him to go to a higher position, you have to let people know who you are. So no one really remembers who the mayors are unless that mayor has accomplished something. Now we remember Arrington because he was the one that bought the tracts of land that blocked in all the Vestavia, the plantation, the twin. I call Vestavia the old bitch. Or the old lady. I call
the plantation.
The plantation is Hoover. And the twins are Mountain Brook and Homewood. So Arrington bought those tracts of land to box them in.
Right.
Langford brought the 1 cent sales tax in that allowed the schools to be built along with other. Plus he had the blueprints to have the Port of Birmingham, which is another project that Randall can do.
Right, okay.
And also he had the blueprints for the transit company.
Right.
Or the monorail system.
Right.
So the environment has already been researched and all.
They got an amphitheater. The amphitheater coming.
Yes, coming.
Yeah.
But who's getting the money? Is the city getting the money? Or is the Birmingham Civic Center getting the money? Who's getting it? See?
Not sure.
You have that Tinker Tonka Stadium downtown. Now, it's nice.
You talking about Legion Field?
No, the other one.
You talking about Protective Stadium?
Yes. So you have that Tinker Tonka place to where we could have had a huge dome that would provide more revenue that was coming to Birmingham. The revenue, the finances.
Yeah, we were having a dome.
Yes, under
Langford.
Langford
For a minute. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did say that.
So, but because the white men weren't involved in it, now because anybody who knows Langford is not going to back down from anybody.
Right.
So because of the white man being scared of the black man, the white man didn't want the black man to have it, so he didn't get it. So you have that Tinker Tonka.
Okay.
And that's fine. If the white folks like that little bitty place, I'm happy for them.
Okay.
So, but where are the taxes going to? Are the taxes going to Birmingham, or
Mm-hmm.
where are the taxes going to, or is it going to UAB,
Right.
or is it going to that what is it that credit union? So where's the money going to? So we need money that's going to be, we need the revenue that's going to come into Birmingham to take care of those services in Birmingham.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
we need corporations. Broadband, we much needed all through Alabama, but I ain't caring about Alabama. We talk about Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Birmingham needs the broadband to bring back those companies because
Mhm.
that's why they left us. Because
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
have the resources, they didn't have what they needed to do whatever. So we need broadband. We need a tax uh, system that would benefit both the city and those corporations coming in.
Mm.
Now, if you have an understanding between those corporations with the city, you could provide those social programs that will help the kids during summer. Because I don't understand why, when a child is not in school, they go hungry. But yet you're supposed to be a Christian,
Don't start now. Don't start
but yet you
nothing.
have kids that go hungry
Right.
for whatever reason. So you would have those revenue coming in that would provide services for the elderly, for the veterans, for the children. If you have one huge location that you put all these social services into one location, the Social
Be like a
Security
hub.
building, a hub,
Yeah, hub. Yeah.
right behind the Civic Center, where the Social Security services, that big huge building back there, you could, if people would join their revenue together to buy that building, that's your hub because it's centrally located.
Mm-hmm.
You have buses that go
Yeah.
downtown. You have the Social Security building that's two blocks down,
Right. Right.
so you can have a trolley because you have all these social services spread out in the city. Why? Why can't you just put them all in one building so that way, if you need ID, you have a place for ID, you have a place for Medicaid, all of that, and then you have a service, you have a trolley system that would run to social service, social security place, where it's just one location. That could be the bottom floor because you have the parking lot, so
Right.
that
Right.
could be
Right.
the bottom part. You could renovate that building to the point to where you could have a cafeteria. You could have a make it a venue that you could have for occasions and parties and stuff like that. On the top floors, you can have offices. At the very top, you can have a television station as
Man.
well as a radio station.
One stop shop.
Once everything is located, all the buses go downtown.
So are you going to put your name on the next election ballot
No,
for city council?
I have too many skeletons in my pocket. And plus two,
You need to get on there, man.
and plus two, I would tell if somebody came after me. Now, I'm not. I have no problem with my past. I
Okay.
enjoy the hell out of myself.
Right. Right.
And if
Right.
I still was able to, I probably would do still some of the stuff. But anyway, I digress. So I have a mouth
Right. Right. Okay.
that has no filter.
You ever thought about how many people probably don't like you?
I don't really care. And they're probably part of that 98% that I wish would die and go to hell.
Oh, he went up to 98
Yes,
in the
98%.
last past 30 minutes.
So you have the individuals, just like with the people that with on your team that you would have for your group home.
Right.
You have individuals who are capable, that will have the structure, that can build the framework, that can develop the blueprint to have all these services for these individuals that need it. There's no reason for children to go hungry during the summertime when they're out of school. There's no reason for there not to be a grocery store that is in close proximity to these neighborhoods so that way you can provide these kids with the necessities. There are a lot of empty lots throughout Birmingham in the communities that can be built into community farms or community gardens.
Mm-hmm.
There are elderly individuals who come from the farms who've been here for a while who would love to teach do you know children love to plant?
Oh,
They
it's
love
fun
to
for them. Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. Digging the dirt and all
Yes,
that stuff.
sir.
Yeah, yeah. They like that.
So we have what it takes. We just don't have the leadership to do it. Now you have the city council, you have the dragon lady, which is Abbott. Her ass, she should have gone.
Dragon lady.
But anyway, but people, her constituents like her, and that's all well and good. But she's older than dirt, and she needs to go. But anyway, I digress. Then you have the name brands, which are three council individuals who families have stellar reputations, have receipts for working in the community. These name brands don't have that type of motivation, determination, or anything to compare to what their family's done. So they're just riding on the coattails of their family. Because here in Birmingham, we vote on popularity. We don't care about if you're qualified.
Ooh,
we
that's
vote
a big.
on
Hey,
popularity.
that's a big.
Now,
Hey,
see, I don't care
that's a big
if your
thing.
great granddaddy was a preacher. I don't care if your granddaddy was a preacher. I don't care if the entire family are damn preachers. That does not mean that because you all come from that long line of stellar preachers, that you're going to be the same caliber of preachers as those, because we know that you're a hoe. We know that you have pretty much had sex, not only with the sisters in your church, but you dipping in other churches, because we know you're a hoe. But yet, you want to be a representative of this district, but you have no receipts. You don't know. First of all, you don't know the problems that your community has. Now, if you don't know the problems or issues or concerns your community has, how in the hell are you going to know what your district problems, concerns, and issues are? But just because you come from the preachers, you're supposed to be a good preacher. Everybody know you're a hoe. You're just like a peacock.
A peacock?
A proud peacock. Just strutting all your stuff around. And you're sort of like a porcupine because you pretty much have had sex with everybody. That just like a porcupine, all those squirrels all over the place.
I knew you was going to say that. Squirrels and
everywhere. Just hoe. And you're not that attractive. I mean, I digress. But anyway, so we know that there has to be some type of partnership between when it comes to the community, because you have the presidents of the community that I'm sure that since they are elected as the officers of the community neighborhood, they know what the issues, the problems, concerns are. The neighborhood association. So how come you can't, and how many times as a council person have you visited those communities? Or how many times have you had a gathering to where you have the officers of the neighborhood associations come together? And all you just need is just officers, which is a president, a vice president, no more than 4 individuals per community. Come together as the council individual. Tell me what the issues are. 9 times out of 10, in that community, in that neighborhood, you're going to have similar problems. Now, some communities are going to be different, but the majority of the problems are going to be the same.
Majority, yeah.
Get those individuals together.
A lot of common denominator.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Have a meeting. Then after you have met with everyone in your community, in your district, then every council person should come together because you've done those meetings and you've laid out exactly these are the problems. Now, what are we going to do for these problems? Now, we already know we need revenue. We need resources. So what are you doing with that money that is allotted to you? What are you doing? Are you giving it to your friends? Are you giving it to your side piece? What you doing with it? Use that money so that way you can give something to the community. We know that during the summertime, there has to have activities to keep the kids active, to wear them down, so that way when they go home, they go to sleep. Same way when it comes to young adults. When you're 18, 19, 20 to 25, you need to give these kids something to do because they're still kids.
Right.
Wear their asses out. Give them a place to go with understanding. Don't start no shit. There won't be no shit. You can come here. You can play basketball all the way up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
With the understanding, you start shit, they're gonna be shit.
You know, another issue is single mothers.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. What is it? Over at the
Not saying they can't raise them, not saying that, but
no,
it's
no.
just
But see that we've always had single mothers, but we in my community we always had latchkey kids, which were parents had to work, but the community raised us. We always had single mothers, but there was always a surrogate, either in church or somewhere in the community,
Mhm.
that served as a surrogate to their children to make it less of a problem or a heavy burden for the mother. We don't have that connection no more for whatever reason. There's a mommy lounge that I can't think of her name, that's over at the Crescent uh, Community Center, that's right in back of Princeton Hospital.
Uh-huh.
So there's a mommy's lounge that single mothers can go to that connects and gives them the avenue and the resources and a place of gathering, because sometimes you feel like you're in there by yourself. And so when you know that there are other individuals going through the same thing, it kind of makes you feel better.
Easy to relate.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a place called the Mommy's Lounge
Mhm.
that single mothers can go to. Like you were saying with the group homes, I worked in a group home. That's what made me go to state in Montgomery, because we had throwaway kids and we had runaways. And throwaways were parents remarried, and the new spouse gave them an ultimatum: you either choose us or you choose your child.
That's tough.
And
Well,
so they chose the
yeah,
dick and pussy.
yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be. Should it be tough?
No, it shouldn't be. You can't accept me. You can't accept my child. Well, then you got to go. But
Does it,
have
does it
no.
depend on on the circumstances? Like sometimes, like what if the kid is like just totally rebellious, disrespectful?
See, that where it goes back to resources, because when you're raised with one type of person,
Hmm.
and then this new entity comes in,
Right.
you're gonna have a little like, who the fuck are you?
Oh yeah, you're gonna have some
Right?
pushback for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
There's
that's why.
levels to it though.
Yeah. Yes.
You know. Levels
So if you have a child that is extreme, that was difficult even with your first mate, you
to
know they're going to be difficult with your
right,
second.
right,
So
right.
that's where it goes back to resources,
Right.
making sure that information is sent out there that, hey, listen, we got you. And I think that it's come to a point now to where there should be some type of symposium only for men,
Mm.
only for men. Now the women pretty much have their connections and whatever, but I think it's time now for there to be some type of symposium or some type of gathering to where experts come to let these fathers know that we understand. We understand. Because I've always told my boys, I pray and hope that you don't have sex, but I know you're
Oh
old,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
have sex.
Right, right.
So when a woman or when your girlfriend or whoever gets pregnant, the first thing that you need to ask is for a DNA. It's not that you don't trust her. And you need to understand that it's not that you don't trust her, but understand that if she wasn't a virgin when you had sex with her, you don't know who it is. Now, you pretty much 90% know it should, but
Most women would frown upon that, especially if they
right,
know
well,
for
then they
sure.
need to get over it and they should close their legs. So, but if there's an agreement between you and the mother of your child, understand that with her being a woman, and most times, if you add another female, that precious angel is going to become a demon from hell. That's why you need to make sure that you have a DNA.
Hmm.
That's why you need to make sure that you have everything in black and white. And that's why you need to make sure that you're sending that individual money, because she's going to put you on child support, and rightfully so. But there should be an understanding that that child support is for the child. That's not the mother. And for a mother to say that, well, I don't need the child support. First of all,
Let me
that's
ask
not your money.
mm,
That's your child's money.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What if, and I find, and I've heard this before from client. My mom says that the utilities is included in, like the kid, like the money, the child support money is for bills as well, which you, the kid, benefit off of. So Is that how it's supposed to go? Or does the kid get the money and get to do what they want to do with the money?
No, no,
Yeah, exactly. So
no,
yeah,
no.
it's controversy about
Right.
that.
And then now you have where this mother has numerous children by numerous fathers. So you have this one father who is being a father, doing like he's supposed to,
Mhm.
but she's using that money that's for his child to help her other children out because she was saying that's how am I supposed to just buy for him and not buy for others? Yes, because
That's
if you have this one man doing what he's supposed to
the
do,
other should do the other
the other
that
should do,
part.
and if they're not, well then you need to do whatever you do. But if
Right.
I'm paying my money for my child and I know that my child is not being taken care of, or I'm taking care of three other children, oh, they're going to be a problem.
Get this. I know a situation where the mom, it was a situation just like what you said, and she was using that money for all the kids that she had, and then was trying to take that same guy back to court for, to increase the
Yes,
payment.
sir. So see you
Not all situations like that,
no,
but
but it's
yeah, it's like
becoming more
yeah,
prevalent now
right, right.
for whatever reason. But again, the issues that you have in the community, I think that if there's a partnership along with resources, and I think that that might be the problem right there. The resources has to be there so that way you can provide the program. Because again, I was raised by the boys club and by the community center. That's what helped. So I know that there's what is the boys and girls club now, but I don't think they are as prominent as what they were back there in my day. I can't think of. I think there are only two community centers that I know of. One's over there at Inslee.
There's a boys and girls club over there in 5.2. I just saw not too long
Oh,
ago.
okay.
It looks new, right next
Oh,
to the fire department, right
yes,
there,
yes.
Prospect and all that.
So the resources are there if you have the right leadership to provide the avenues or the paths or the what is needed to get those resources because you
Right.
have it, and he has it. He has a personality. He has a personality. I mean, he can with his personality, he could sell a bridge over in the desert.
Wolfer.
Well,
Hmm.
because he has that type of personality.
Right.
Now he's well liked and rightfully so,
Right. Right.
but he's just
Right. I don't know what you about to say,
I
man.
was going to digress,
You
but
know, tell it will come out your mouth, man.
but we need to do better than what we're doing because you're not taking up for the veterans, you're not taking up for the homeless, you're not taking care of the senior citizens, you're not taking care of the children.
It's,
There's no reason why there can't be homes, a little small homes built for the homeless, as well as because 9 times out of 10, the reason why the homeless in most cases is because they don't have an ID. Because with an ID, you have to have an address. So if you provide the address, just like with the group homes,
right.
have a home for the veterans so that way they have a location, or build the small homes. Because if your home is really all you're looking for is a bathroom, like a studio,
Right.
because you have a bathroom, you have a kitchen, you have a bedroom. Or
Right.
better yet, you could have one community to where you have one building that serves as a kitchen,
Right.
and people can come if they want
Mm-hmm.
to eat. But if they want to stay in the house, they can do that.
And then link them to some temp services,
Yes, sir.
and
And
to
then that
start
way you
off
can
with.
have social workers to come in,
Hmm.
and they have each day. Now there's some people who want to be homeless. That's good,
Yeah.
but
Right. Right. Right.
provide them a place,
You hear a lot of people say that.
right?
A lot of them, like a lot of
And
homeless
that's
people, want to
because
be homeless.
they don't trust. The trust has been damaged.
Is
And they
this? Let me ask you two questions. Let me cut you off, by the
no,
way.
go ahead, go ahead.
Is there someone who doesn't want these wonderful things to happen? That's the first question. The things that we're talking about, resources and all the good stuff. And two, I forgot the second question. It'll come back to me.
Okay.
Answer the first
I think because of the situation and circumstances that some of these individuals have dealt. I think they've lost the trust in humanity because humanity can be cruel.
Mm.
It can really damage you to the point of where you can't recover.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those individuals, I think you should still let them know that we're here. Now, if you want to come by and you want to get some socks, if you want to get toiletries, if you want to get a blanket, cool. We're here. We can do that. If you want a place to stay just for the night, cool. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
We we got you. So if they learn that they can trust you, you have to be consistent and constant with what you're providing, which means that you're going to always have to have those resources always coming in because you're always going to need toiletries. You're always going to need some type of soap, some type of socks, some type of something for the cold and stuff like that. When it comes to these small communities, I think that you need to make sure that they have an address, they have all the documentation, ID documentation that is required, that is needed. And if by chance they need someone to serve as a what's the word? That would take care of the checks and all. Can't think of
A
guardian.
guardianship.
That you have an individual that is vested
Power.
power of attorney.
Attorney,
So
yeah.
that way that everything gets taken care of. So that way uh, the utilities are paid, and it shouldn't cost that much, especially if there's a partnership between Alabama Power, so forth and so on. So that would take care of the homeless and the veterans. As for the elderly, there's no reason why the food banks can't come together as one huge source, and they are always flooded to the point where they always need a warehouse, so that way the elderly will have the necessities as well as the children
Mm-hmm.
will have the necessities to when it comes to certain services and certain nutritions and stuff like that. And I think that once everybody understands and once everyone understands that these are your expectations,
Mm-hmm.
this is your place. I think that if that is constantly and consistently driven, I think that now you're always going to have problems because of human nature.
Yeah, well, of course,
But I
of
think
course.
that conservatively, I think that 95% of the issues and problems that you have in the city will be less than what there is. And I think that when it comes to uh, the policemen, when it comes to the firemen, I think there should be some type of relationship in the community. I think that at a certain point, that when you reach a certain level in the career as a policeman and fireman, especially a policeman, that you have to undergo some type of I don't know what the word,
Some type of
because I think that
social building
yes,
or rapport
because
building.
right,
You know,
because I think that
community.
there's a disconnect, and then two, I don't think that these individuals are being trained properly, because it took me, was it four, it took 8 years for us to get our certifications and degrees. I'm not saying it
Oh
should
yeah,
take that
yeah.
long for somebody as a policeman, but I think that there should be one core place. I think the state troopers is the longest,
Mm.
and I think that all law enforcement individuals should be mandated that they go to the state troopers place, and this serves as two purposes. One, it puts everything in unification when it comes as a state. Two, if an individual retires from either the sheriff or from a police department and they want to continue teaching, you've already gone through training for the state trooper.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be a state trooper, you can go through that way.
Right, right, right.
So I think that when it comes to as a whole, I think there should be a hub where all the services are together. When it comes to training, when it comes to prep, when it comes to stuff like, when it comes to the community, I think that there should be some type of ongoing, continuous education that is being provided, so that way everybody's on the same accord. Because again, we're living in a new world. We're living in a new system,
New paradigm.
and
Yeah.
exactly. And these kids, they don't have the social skills that they should for whatever reason. And I think that with community centers being brought back, with more education when it comes to the boys club, the boys and girls club, that this allows the children to socialize. Also, it gives them a chance to use the computers too. They still can use the
Right. I
computers,
was gonna say, you know, one of the biggest distractions are the electronic. You
right?
know.
So they still have that, but they have a time period.
Right.
Now I knew that when I went to Capitol Heights Community Center, there were certain activities on certain days from what to what. But you could stay there, you could always play. But we always had the understanding, don't mess around, or we're gonna
Mhm.
send you home. And for you to be sent home or told that you can't come back for 2 days, that hurt.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that if you have that foundation, if you have those boundaries that are set up, I think that most things could be squashed.
Right. And I wanted to share when you talked about relationships with community and law enforcement for our firefighters. Uh, there's a relationship, but it's in a different perspective. You know, like I know where I'm from, we knew the numbers of the cars, the units.
Yes,
We knew
sir.
what unit, we knew who drove it, who was,
Right.
when it would come, so that's the type of relationship where we're like, okay, there go 33-2 or
We knew exactly
541.
who was in there, and we
Yeah.
and we knew who when that certain number came up, we knew that he ain't playing
Yeah,
today.
right, right,
No,
right, right.
so but we knew.
Right, right. You still knew, so it was some type of relationship.
Yes,
Hey, what's up, man? We
yes,
just, hey, what's going on? Y'all staying out of trouble?
right.
So he did have some good ones. And he had some that wasn't.
Mm.
Right,
But I think that what's missing are the boundaries and expectations,
right, right.
and I
Structure.
think being exactly.
Yeah, structure. Yeah.
But who provides that structure? Does it come from the parents? Does it come from the community? Who We don't have the church environment as what the church was a long time.
Man, it's different, man. It's really different, man. And I go back and I hold parents accountable uh a lot. But it's a shift.
Yes, sir.
It's a huge shift, and we are battling a lot of different things in society, different things that we see, different things that are just thrown at us, that our kids will see, and it's just up to us to like you said, start to build a strong foundation, a strong base to
Right.
start off with, and try to well equip your child as much as possible, so they can go out into society and be as productive and positive as possible.
Right. And one thing we didn't do,
What's that?
we didn't introduce you.
Oh yeah.
So tell us who you are and where to find you.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm Kimbo the Counselor, guys, aka Randall McFarlane the Third, aka the Irish Wolf. I am the host of the Irish Wolf Show podcast, and you can find us on YouTube. Please subscribe. We are centered around mental health, and we have different topics, different guests from different walks of life, and we have fun and learn at the same time. So tune in. On YouTube, The Irish Wolf Show podcast. You can look us up on all social media platforms as well. You can email us at theirishwolfshow@gmail.com if you want to come on the show. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you
Oh, for sure, for sure.
because what you got off at a certain time and had a rush, so you haven't gotten any sleep.
Oh no, man, I'm about to when I leave here. Hey man, I'm trying to look. Hey, let me tell you some. One of my and it's funny because you taught social studies too. I have a great mentor. His name Patrick Fuller. Shout out to you, Patrick Fuller. I don't call him Patrick, but Fuller. He know what time it is. But he told me years ago. He said, "Man, sacrifice 4 years for 40 good ones."
Yeah.
And it's stuck in my head. And what he was talking about is, man, go ahead and grind in your 20s.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's 4 years of college, but of course it was more than that. Me having to go to grad school and stuff. But he said, sacrifice 4 years for 40 good ones.
Right.
Go ahead and put that time in, man. And I am grateful that I was insane enough to go to college and grab 3 degrees and and be where I am now. And the thing about it is, the cherry on top is that I'm from the hood, you know. So I have the street scent
Right.
and I have the book scent, and I integrate. I try to integrate it as much as possible, when I'm trying to help.
Because they know that you can relate.
Right,
And
right,
if they know that you can relate, they're more apt to listen to you
right,
because you understand exactly what they're talking about.
right,
And so
right.
you can talk in their language.
And my delivery and approach,
Yes, sir.
that really plays a part too. And I'm just blessed. I don't brag about it, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So guys, just please tune in to the Irish Whip Show podcast on YouTube, guys. We got Birmingham J coming on next.
Now, who's Birmingham Jake?
He's a rapper.
Right,
Right,
right.
but he's doing different type of music now. He's in he has a band now or whatever. But he made that single called "Move Back,"
Right,
drag it on
right.
up like a U-Haul truck. Yeah, that was it. That was him. Yeah.
You need to have Nina Chanel on the show.
Hey, I do
Let me
not.
tell you,
Come on,
Nina.
come on, Nina, come on,
Oh,
Nina
Nina.
Chanel, come on,
Nina,
come on to the show. Holla at me, get at me.
man.
We'd love to have
Hey,
on.
you got the she's on she has a song out, so look up Nina Chanel.
Okay, okay, okay.
It's fantastic.
I think I heard the name though.
Yes, sir.
Nina
And
Chanel.
Benny Hertz is also, I think, is the producer. I get confused with the terminology. I think Benny's the producer. I think he has his own
Okay.
record production company. So, but Nina Chanel,
Okay, okay, okay.
she's
Look up.
fantastic. So it's Friday.
That's right.
Time to get buck naked and freaky.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, man.
For sure, for sure.
Appreciate you.
Always, man.
Always.
Always.
Thank you for stopping in. Know your value, know your worth, know that you are the one that creates everything about you. And most importantly, know that I love you more than I love my love. I'll see you Monday. Y'all take care.
Peace.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put there. The live stream on the show. On the show. The live stream. On the show. The live stream. The live stream on the show.